Hey, middle-aged musician here. Today I was going to talk about my Slingerland Banjo. Uh, so I always thought growing up Slingerland, immediately the thing that came to mind was drums. But apparently Slingerland was initially formed as the Slingerland Banjo Company. And banjos and drums were things that kind of went hand in hand because if you look at a banjo, it's basically a drum with a neck on it. uh, have had some conflicting information about when they started making instruments. I've heard 1912, I've heard 1916, as well as when they stopped making instruments. I've heard 1929, I've heard in the 40s. The one I have, I think, just my educated guess is always been that it was from the 20s. It's an interesting instrument for a number of reasons I'll show you as we dig into the instrument. But it actually is a go-to instrument for me. Before I got my Pisgah banjo, when I've had banjo students, that's the one that I bring is my Slingerland. It has friction fit tuners. Now got strings. It's a open back banjo with kind of traditional construction techniques. I have literally not had to tune it in months, and I've had a lot of modern instruments with truss rods and everything else that I've had to go and change the tuning. It's the weirdest thing to me. This seems like the one that should just go out of tune. Tuning is absolutely stable. It's just bizarre. It probably not going to be the poster boy for why you want to have graphite rods and a multi adjustable truss rod in your neck, because this has none of that and it's absolutely 100% stable. So anyway, it's an interesting instrument. I'm going to walk through it a little bit. I hope you enjoy the discussion, going through this pretty much maybe one, if not 100 years old, approaching 100-year-old instrument. So stay tuned, and hopefully you like and subscribe. So we'll dig in here in a minute. Okay, so let's talk about some of the specs. So in terms of ornamentation, there's not a lot going on. There's nothing special on the headstock. Dot inlays. It's not loaded with a ton of brackets. It is a Birdseye-maple rim, as you can see. It also has this interesting feature that I don't know that I've ever seen on another banjo. It's like a resonator, but it's not a resonator. So a resonator extends past the pot and projects the sound forward. So this is basically like an open back with a built-in mute. So that's interesting. It has these friction fit tuners. Definitely old. I have it fitted with Nile gut strings. Nothing special about the frets, not anything else. It has a Grover branded bridge. I don't think it's original. Remo head, definitely not original. The tailpiece, seems pretty authentically original. But yeah, that's basically what the outside of the banjo looks like. And it's a pretty mellow sounding banjo. Of course, I don't play with finger picks. I've got Nile gut on it, and it's an open back style with what's ostensibly a mute on the back. So there you go. Okay, so we're going to take a peek at the innards. I'm going to take the screw out. You can see there's a screw holding in. There's also kind of these four, you can see these four little rivets in the back. They're interesting. Also, I moved it around, heard something shift around that side, which I've never noticed. But I'm going to undo this screw here, show you what that looks like first. Brass screw, also fairly long apparently. Yeah, so here we go. I say screw, it's basically a bolt. So there it is. So first thing we're going to look at is this, the pièce de résistance. So if you notice, there are these four rivets, and on the back side of each one of those rivets is this cork. So the cork, I guess, keeps it from rattling. It also means this is like 100-year-old cork. Kind of an interesting side note. Oh, that's wild. Yeah, so what's rolling around inside are these little, I don't know, plastic beads that came out of something that was in the gig bag that these were in. So somehow they managed to infiltrate the inside of this banjo. That's a little wild. So I'm going to put it this way. So hopefully you can read. Right, so Slingerland on the inside there. So you see kind of this fairly typical way that open back banjos were built. You see the rim, you see the seam here. Not on the rim, but on the cap on the rim. Two-part cap here. The screws on the inside. The adjustments. It says Slingerland Manufacturing, Chicago, Illinois. And the screw that I showed you before, this hollow has threads. So there's a screw here that it attaches to. So you adjust this to get that, connected to the back. Again, I've never, if you left it like this, this is actually a 4-part. If you left it like this is just a regular open back banjo. I was commenting as I was noticing, because I almost never have this off, that there's actually 4 pieces of wood here. You can see the seams of, it's curly maple. Apparently the affordable wood of the day. The banjos had some play, especially prior to the 5th peg. It's an awesome little banjo, but I don't see a lot of Slingerlands, and especially with this particular setup with this little back baffle, kind of baffling back baffle hubcap that it's got on the back, but it kind of makes it cool. I usually try and orient it so that it's 12 o'clock, like a clock. I don't know where they're supposed to be. I don't know that there is a supposed to be. Curiously, this has dents in it. I don't know if you can probably see that it has dents in it. I don't know what this has been through. Apparently somebody liked somebody's banjo music and they beat somebody to death with this banjo at some point. Who knows? I'll stick with that. Sounds like a cool story. So anyway, hope you enjoy this walk through history. I'm not playing the banjo a whole lot today. My wrist is really kind of flared up today, and just doing rolls is not something that I'm able to really get through today. So I don't think you tune into the channel to watch me play, but if you did, I'm going to apologize straight up, because I'm not playing the banjo very well today. It's just not happening. So anyway, thank you, and hope you enjoy this, and I will chat with you next time. Some quick video postmortems as I watch what I film, because I don't have a teleprompter. I just ad-lib what I'm saying most of the time. So the first thing that comes out, I don't know why I kept saying this. I kept saying curly maple. It's Birdseye-maple. I made this mistake a couple times at least. Birdseye-maple back in the day, 100 years ago, Birdseye-maple was not the premium stuff. It was considered like cast off stuff. So that was the affordable maple you would get. Today we pay a premium for it. It's, how aesthetic and supply and demand changes, right? So we look today and say, oh my God, that was a Birdseye-maple. They had a high end. No, that was actually like the cheap stuff. So that's an interesting thing. The other thing I figured out, as I kept thinking about it, is that I think this was, because it has the curly maple cap around the rim. And again, I never had the back off this. I never really thought about it. But I think this is intended to be played open back if you want, and then with a mute. So I think that back, metal thing, I think that's like an accessory. Like if you wanted to mute it, for a different venue or whatever, you use that. That's my guess, right? So I can't say with expertise that's what it is, but my gut instinct, my intuition, my informed decision is that this was an open back banjo that had this accessory that was like a mute, right? So I don't even know if that was available on all of them. It might have been an upgrade. I don't know. It's really hard to find stuff on Slingerland Banjos, even though Slingerland started as a banjo company. Trying to think if there's something else I wanted. Well, again, I'm going to apologize about my playing. I got a wounded paw. Did the best I could. I'm really not trying to push things. I think those are probably the biggest things that I wanted to correct. But anyway, I appreciate you watching my videos. I apologize. Sometimes I say the wrong thing. A video or two ago, I called an electrolytic capacitor a catalytic capacitor. I don't know. I'm old. I'm 52. My brain does weird things sometimes. It's not gonna get better over time. So hopefully you bear with me. So anyway, thank you. And I just wanted to put in this little caveat at the end. So that's all.